Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Zina Suissa, psychologist and executive coach. My company is Residence Executive and Team Coaching. We coach and do consulting for senior executives, leaders, teams, and my favorite, corporate institutional training. This is another episode of How Does This Resonate with You? And I'm absolutely delighted to have as my guest Libby Gill of Libby Gill and Company. Welcome, Libby.
Thank you, Zina.
Be here, and I'd like to, with your permission, I'd like to read a little bit about you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. So Libby Gill is the founder and CEO of Libby Gill and Company, an executive coaching and leadership consulting firm. Prior to starting her company, she served in senior leadership roles in communication at media giants, Universal, Sony, and Turner Broadcasting. She's also the branding, would you believe, and PR brain behind, yes, the Dr. Phil Show. Her clients include AMC Networks, Comcast, Disney, Ernst & Young, Intel, so many, Kellogg's, Microsoft, Oracle, PayPal, Safeway, Warner Brothers, Wells Fargo, Viacom, and many more, I am sure. A frequent media guest, she shared her success strategies on CNN, NPR, The Today Show, Business Week, Times, etc., etc. She was a columnist. I was very impressed. She's a columnist for the Dallas Morning News. I think that's great. As a coach and consultant, she helps leaders to link beliefs to behaviors. I'm a psychologist. I love this. Beliefs to behaviors to help leaders instill engagement, bold action among their employees. She's the author of 5 books. One is just behind me, The Hope-Driven Leader, which we're going to discuss today, which I can see. I think it's there somewhere. And most importantly, she is the mom of 2 sons who she adores. Have I forgotten anything, Libby?
No, that's plenty. Thank you, Zina.
You have a great legacy. Okay, so welcome again, Libby. I'm delighted to have you with me. And when I looked at your book, Hope-Driven Leadership, what really struck me was the word hope. Would you help my audience? Would you help me understand why now? Why a book on hope-driven leadership?
Oh, gosh. I won't get political, but I think our world is in such great discord, and our institutions, politics, life on the street, there's just so much incivility, let alone violence, that I think we need that sense of hopefulness. And to me, hope is a very action-oriented, and we'll get into that. It is not fuzzy, abstract, but it is it's about having a future-focused vision and being unstoppable in approaching that realistic and grounded, I should say, vision.
Yeah, and I went out in reading your book, and I've not really researched hope, although I'm very hopeful. You took it from 2 areas. You took it from a medical model, and you took it from, which is so much out there, positive psychology, and I appreciate that.
I did. I started with, hope was always what I thought of internally as sort of my jet fuel for life. Yeah. As we have discussed, just getting to know each other, we've experienced a number of life's challenges, maybe what most people experience, but all in one package. Yeah. And to me, that a sense of hope was what, got you out of bed in the morning. It's today's going to be a better day. And I started when I was a teenager. My dad was a traditional psychiatrist. And I remember as a teen slipping the book Psycho-Cybernetics, which was written in the 60s, into my house. And I kept it under the bed because I didn't want anybody to tease me. But I became so affixed on this idea, if I could just make every day a little bit better. And then later I discovered that there was, in fact, this body of research around hope that comes from medicine. It started out of placebo studies, yeah, and also from positive psychology. And it tells us that unlike optimism, which is a generalized sense of everything's going to be okay, hope is about a future-focused vision that is grounded in reality, that is practical, that is actionable, and moving steadily towards that vision. And that's what hope is versus happiness or optimism. It's specific and it's situational and it's personal. It's what moves and motivates you.
Yeah. And I think you and I are very hopeful people. That's what I'm getting, very passionate, hopeful people. Okay. There is a section in your book, and my interest is very much change as well. I like the area of hope and leadership and change. Dr. Shane Lopez, who I know about, a business professor and author, he wrote a book, Making Hope Matters. And he mentioned 3 things to create a hope-filled, I'm using hope a lot, hope-fueled workplace. He said that to create and sustain excitement, that's 1. To remove obstacles to goals is 2. To recreate goals whenever needed. Now, I'm going to ask you, I think it's a difficult question, but you have researched it. Why are people so resistant to change?
There's so much that, we sort of forget that we are animals and we're fairly defenseless compared to, tigers or elephants. So our built into our brains negativity bias is high. We're on the alert and people forget that. We're looking for the negatives. We're looking for the enemies. We're looking for those signals. That's our survival system. And when people can't recognize, that's just my red flag going up, they back down from risks, even when they know intellectually that change would be good for them, that going out of their comfort would be good for them. They just give in to what I call it the immediate negative response, the INR. Forget it, not doing it, not going to happen. Yeah. But what leaders need to recognize, and I like taking these ideas of hope and transferring them to the workplace, because like you, I'm an executive coach. When leaders understand that this is our biological hardwiring, this is our default, this is where we live with that high level of fear, which is a gift in terms of predators and primitive times, not so much when you've got to raise your hand or speak up at a meeting, but that same fear, that fight or flight, or the one people forget about, or freeze, kicks in. And it just backs us off because it's too scary. The adrenaline starts to flow, the stomach starts to flutter, your palms sweat, all of those things that should get you out of the way of a charging lion or a rhino, they happen in regular life. Also, people feel this lack of control. When they're faced with change, they feel like, wait a minute, my world is being shaken up here. It's this is all new and different, and I don't know if I like that. So we've got to ease people into change. And as leaders, we've got to remember that change doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time and in stages. And when I'm coaching people, I always tell them, as soon as you start getting tired of saying the same thing or reinforcing the same change, that's about the time other people start to hear it. Yes. So it's really got to be that sense of you're constantly reinforcing it, using the same language or coming at it from different angles. Because people, we've got that fear of failure. Yes. If everything's changing, what does that mean? Are my skills going to cut it? Do I have the right temperament for this new management? All of those things. Or, gee, I'm leaving some of my colleagues behind. I'm leaving my training behind. Was I wrong all that time? So all of these things are triggered usually without people even knowing it. Right. And we just back down, dig into the status quo, and people start to say things like, it is what it is, you can't fight City Hall, all of that excuse-making language just comes into play. And once organizations enculturate that and they make it part of their language, it's really hard to kind of pull the plug on that and get people into action again.
So what you're basically saying is not only the employees are having difficulty with their resistance, but the leaders are not comprehending why employees are not buying into this company. Like, why are you so afraid? I think that's what I'm hearing from you.
Yes, exactly. It's difficult on all levels. And, so there are plenty of leaders who don't like change. I deal with this, I'm sure you do all the time. Yeah. No, we're just getting, and when I hear that's the way we've always done it, or we've always done it that way, or we've never done it that way, essentially the same thing. We're not trying anything new. And that's in today's world with the rapidity of change, the complexity, technology, global workplaces, all of these things that are changing so rapidly. And when I tell people, think about the speed of change. Today may be the slowest rate of change you'll ever experience again.
I have to agree.
You think that and think, well, gee, if this is slow, I better get ready for tomorrow.
Exactly. So, and as I went and I read your whole book, I dug deep into it. You talk about the language of the leader. And I believe, and I think you would agree with me, communication is probably the key skill, the key factor to get this place really working well together. What do you think you'd recommend for leaders so that they will not be so hesitant themselves to be more effective, because kind of status quo doesn't work, Maybe we have to change our language.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about what's working today or what worked yesterday is not necessarily what's going to work for you tomorrow. Yeah. And for people like you and like me, we thrive on change. There are a handful of people that say, let's go. And when I see a change agent thrown into a company, there's a little pocket of people that say, yay, it's about time. Things are really going to happen. But most people, probably 2/3 or more, say, oh, here we go again. Yes. Another change. What does this mean? Right. So leaders have to really model that sort of the sense of, first, it's that attitude, that excitement, that engagement about, I'm on board with these changes and here's why. And they've really got to bring the vision to life. I mean, start with, here's the vision. And some companies, they can do that with the vision with the capital V that's so lofty and ambiguous and generic that it doesn't translate to, what does this mean for me as an individual? So you've got to paint that emotional picture that gets people excited and inspired. Then you break that down. Okay, here's the plan. This is nuts and bolts. That's what it means for your group. Here's what it means for your team. So that they really identify what that change or what that vision looks like in action. Connect the dots for people.
Right.
And set those critical milestones. And for leaders, there is no one size fits all. You got to customize your communications and your check-ins. You got somebody really junior, they may be ready to fly, but you've still got to do appropriate check-ins without micromanaging, because there's no quicker way to kill passion. But with someone more senior, maybe they need to just check in with you when they feel that they need the guidance. So it's your job to establish, where does that come along? Where do those check-ins? How do you measure? What are the markers and the milestones? And the most important question any leader can ask on a daily, weekly, maybe hourly basis is, what do you need from me? What do you need on this task? What do you need on this project? What do you need to succeed? What do you need in your career? What do you need to make you excited about our future together?
This could be a whole other talk, because leaders are so reluctant to ask, what do you need from me? It's kind of the command and control first.
I think they're afraid they're going to hear it.
I think so too.
Not sure they can provide it. So
I think so too. So I'm not going to give everything away. We touched on communication. We touched on change. We touched on leadership. I love your last chapter. And it's called Creating a True Hope Roadmap. I'm going to show your book. I think everybody should work on this to create their true hope, because I've done it. I work through it. And I think it is so comprehensive and so helpful.
Thank you. And there's a difference, as I learned from one of the experts, a fellow named Dr. Jerome Grootman.
Yep.
There's true hope and false hope.
Yes. Yes.
And true hope is that it's real, it's grounded, it's attainable, it's doable, it's achievable. It's not, I tell my clients, I don't want to kill anybody's dream, but you may not be a ballet dancer or a baseball player, an astronaut when you're 60, So get realistic about it, and then set that as your true hope vision, your North Star, and go after it.
And go after it. So Libby, from me to you, I couldn't resist. You started off with Lear's Embassy Communication, known so much for Norman Lear, All in the Family, My Time, which was sold to Columbia, and then to Coca-Cola, and then to Sony. And you made a statement which struck me in your book. I don't know if you're going to know what I'm going to say, but it was either raise your hand and go with it, or stay in this little place. Now, do you remember how you answered yourself?
In the book?
In the book. There's a statement in the book that
I'm not sure I do.
I wanted to remind you, because it's go.
Raise your hand and figure it out later?
Yes. I am just going to keep raising my hand whether I know this or not. I love that because I think that's the gist of the book. It's the hope. I have hope. I have choice. I'm going for it, you know? Would you agree?
Yes, I don't know everything, but
Yes.
gosh, I will give it a shot and see how it works out.
I love that. That should be a phrase. Raise your head or sit at the table or lean in. This is great. This is great. And then I love the quote by Orison Swett Marden. Orison Swett Marden, who founded Success Magazine in 1897. Thank you for sharing that with me. Still Success Magazine. He said, "There's no medicine like hope, no incentive so great, no tonic so powerful as expectation of something tomorrow." Well, from me to you, bravo, Libby, for your courage, for your determination, for raising your hand and even not knowing, for your research, and for being you. I thank you. I think you're amazing. I really do.
Thank you so much, Zina. I'm so honored to be here with you.
Well, I'm honored to have you. Thank you so much. I know we will meet again. I know we will talk again. And I so much appreciate it. Thank you again for everything you've done, for this, for books, for research, for others. And I think you're a very other-oriented person.
Thank you. My honor.
You're welcome. Thank you.